Wines. When you're in Las Vegas, join them. Enjoy Les Kincaid and Wines du Jour, coming to you Thursday nights at 7 p.m. Pacific Time, right here on CRN Digital Talk Radio.
And now, live from New York City via Los Angeles, California, it's time for The View from Over Here, with the man who has a view for all seasons, your host, Stan Weisleder.
Take it away, Stanley.
Okay, we're here again. CRNTalk.com, The View from Over Here, broadcast over the entire planet and beyond. I'm here in the studio with Malcolm Burman to make sure I don't bleep up. That's a good word. He doesn't have to bleep that out.
Well, he can't bleep it. He's leaving the studio now, but he's kind of hesitant.
Oh, he's going to have another ham sandwich. That's what he's doing. So, Malcolm, we have a good show today.
Excellent. What do we have on?
Well, we have The View from the Pew, and Jerry's going to talk about a new movie that he saw and tell us whether he likes it or doesn't like it. And our special guest today is Larry Manetti, who has a career unbelievable, but we'll let him talk about that when we...
And he's no stranger to the CRN audience.
Yeah, because he's a neighbor of ours.
Well, what do you have new this week
well,
that's not political?
That's not political. Unfortunately, it is political. I hate to get into politics, but there's no way to avoid it. Like, for instance, I have to say this, that the scale of the international BS has bypassed the national BS by leaps and bounds. For instance, we have a mental retard from the United States who recently blew himself up in Syria as part of his personal jihad. And in his pre-suicide taped video for all of us to watch, he made all kinds of threats against the U.S. while tearing up his passport. I sure hope his parents are proud of him.
I don't know if parents can do anything about their kids.
They can maybe raise them a little differently. Let's get on to another item. Israel is definitely losing the public relations war to the Palestinians. But it was a foregone conclusion from the very get-go when Israel was created that there would be two standards for international behavior, one for Israel and one for the rest of the world. And like we were talking about on the way coming into the station, nobody is making any big deal about all of the atrocities that have taken place. Like in Syria, what is it, 150,000 casualties?
And how many displaced? By their own people.
500,000, whatever the number is. Nobody's making a big deal about that. Now, what about in the Ukraine? They say they still have some unlocated bodies from flight MH17. That's the one that was shut down by the Russian flunkies over the eastern Ukraine. They say they can't find the bodies. Duh. That's because they were probably eaten up by wild animals.
They could. Are there wild animals there?
Well, they're using dogs now to sniff out what's left. They should have done that when it started. Right.
What should be, and what is are two different things. Yeah,
well, and my closing remark, and this I believe 1,000%. Back in June of 1981, Israel attacked the Iraqi nuclear facility. So what happened? Almost the entire world was up in arms about that sneak attack, which it was. It was a sneak attack. But behind the scenes, those countries that voiced their opposition to the attack said to Israel, "Boy, are we glad you did it." And then again in May of 2013, when Israel attacked the fledgling, it hadn't really started yet, the fledgling nuclear facility in Syria, no one blinked an eye. Nobody cared. In the current crisis in Gaza, Israel is clearly the loser in the PR war.
Well,
and no matter how it ends militarily, Israel will remain a pariah for another 2,000 years.
Well, I think it's Will Chamberlain once said, "Nobody loves a giant," and in this situation, militarily, Israel is a giant. And they keep on all the news. Everything is in numbers. You know, so many civilians were
could
killed.
Still be crushed by a major power if it started up with them.
Well, if they all could get together and do something.
Yeah. Well, anyway, because of the situation that they're in now, they can't win, they can't lose. Everybody's going to hate them. The Arabs are still saying that they're using the blood of Christian children to make matzah. How could that be? If you put blood in matzah, the recipe is not good. It'll come out too crummy. It won't work, okay? Besides not being kosher.
Well,
anyway,
it depends if the blood is kosher or not.
Well, in my opinion, and maybe other people also, this would be the best time for Israel to do what it started out to do under Bush, but was cut short by Obama. And that is to destroy the nuclear facilities of Iran. Pariah or not, the world, including the Arab nations, will thank them behind the scene.
Well, the question is destroying the Iranian nuclear capability is, can they bomb it? Because from what I understand, a lot of the Iranian factories or power plants are hidden underground, so far underground that even the bombs that seek out underground things can't reach them.
The normal bombs, but the U.S. has bunker-busting bombs that could do the job. All they have to do is ship a couple of dozen to them.
Well, I think it has to be more done with sabotage versus, direct bombing.
Whatever. It has to be done because they're only stalling, and it's only a matter of time where they'll say, screw these negotiations, we don't need them because we have the bomb, and they're making enough uranium now, not just for one bomb, but for maybe a dozen. And then they are a nuclear power.
Correct. But when I listen to the news now, my big question is, are we better off now in 2014 than we were in 2001 when the then President Bush decided to attack Iraq? Now, everything in that part of the world is gone crazy. Now, Iraq, are they any better? Are we any safer from terrorists now?
No.
Look what's happening in Egypt. Are we any safer from terrorists?
Listen,
no.
Look
what's happening in Libya.
Facts come out long after the fact, and the government always lies anyway. Material is coming out now regarding the Vietnam War. It's in the papers now. There was a big boondoggle. And Lyndon Johnson is quoted as saying, who knows what the Navy was shooting out there in the Tonkin Gulf. They could have been shooting at whales.
Whales, that was said. On that note, I think we should get our movie critic on.
Enough of the whales. Okay, Jerry, are you on board?
I'm on board with my beautiful redhead.
Okay, Jerry and Jeff.
What will Jeff say?
How do you do, gentlemen?
Good morning.
All right, the floor is yours, guys.
Okay, we saw a film.
Mazel tov.
Yes. Get on up.
And as a matter of fact, there was someone behind me who I knew and spoke to and followed me into the men's room. But that's a different story. Okay.
Yeah.
Skip that part.
Right. Pray tell who is it. No, don't tell.
We saw Get On Up, which is the story of James Brown. Now, my first overview is I really didn't care for it. Jeff, on the other hand...
Well, I did. I think any biopic is difficult to do and usually kind of boring. This was a little over the top. I find that Tate Taylor is not one of my favorite directors. He did The Help. But I think he tried to do a yeoman's job on this, and it jumped around a bit, but I think the performances were outstanding. I love Chadwick Boseman, who plays James Brown. Absolutely a wonderful performance, I feel. And
you're talking about Jackie Robinson?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Number 42.
He's a wonderful, wonderful actor. by all indication, will become a big star. I think he'll be take on major roles in major films very, very soon. Not that this isn't a major film. However, the director and I guess he's the one who oversees everything, so I can't blame the editor. The cuts were terrible. The flashbacks were awful. Very confusing. Aside from that, it was dull. Outside of the music, which is, well, of course, bombastic, if you're a James Brown fan, even if you're not a James Brown fan, the music is very exciting, and it always has been, it always will be. I
found it very entertaining. The music was a big part of that as well, but it kept me entertained throughout. And that's why I liked it. Okay,
I was looking at my watch, waiting for it to end, which is never a good sign for a reviewer who sits in a film and watching it. I just would like to have had it. I'm not a big fan of flashbacks, but he took poetic license, this guy, and he kept on doing flashbacks, which was really very confusing, as I said before, and you sort of lose the interest. It starts to build up, and then all of a sudden you have a flashback. It opens up great. Then I can understand the flashback from the opening. The opening, he comes in, and he's a little crazy at this time of his career or his life. And he shoots a gun off while people came to pray. A church uses his facilities. And one of them uses the bathroom. He goes crazy. That's his bathroom. He doesn't want anyone using his bathroom.
I can see that.
And he said, if you have to go, you wait. Wait till you finish praying and then get out. But at any rate, it was the flashback there was okay. But what followed was a stream of flashbacks from when he was a kid. His mother, who was a Viola Davis,
yes,
terrific. Well, needless to say, and Spencer, Octavia Spencer, is that her name?
Yes.
They were wonderful. They were said. Jeff said before, the acting is terrific. But acting does not a picture make. I didn't think the dialogue was that great.
Acting does not a picture make? Are you kidding?
Can I ask a stupid question?
You mean good dialogue with crappy direction and
I think we could name, and I can't do it off the top of my head right now, but a lot of films where the films weren't really great films, but the performances were terrific.
Jerry, Jeff, can I ask a stupid question?
Yeah.
My stupid question. Is the movie in color or in black and white?
It's in color.
Would it be better if it were made in black and white?
No.
That would be worse.
Well, actually, since I saw the same screening, the color of black and white didn't really make much of a difference.
I think they needed the color in there, especially James Brown. Look at the colors of his suits and how colorful he was as a human being. Good and bad.
He wasn't I'm sorry, honey. He wasn't a good husband. He wasn't basically not a nice guy for the things that, which is for me, it was also blemishing the character of a guy who was he started rock and roll.
I'm sorry, but his character was always blemished.
I didn't know that.
And this more or less gave you reason why. With his upbringing and what he knew.
Hey, guys, hold on for a minute, and we're coming up against a commercial break, and we'll come right back with you to finish up the review. You're listening to The View from Over Here on crntalk.com, and can be heard all over the world. So if you're someplace, listening to it, we're here in Los Angeles, and we'll be back in 2-3 minutes. Stay tuned.
A Killer of Lions by Stan Weisleder There were 4 squadrons of black fighter pilots during World War II that had to fight 2 air forces in order to gain recognition, the Luftwaffe and the U.S. Army Air Corps. The HBO special and the recent attempt at a full-length feature film do not come close to the full and true story of these brave men. They were not ball players, they were not rap singers, they were fighter pilots and American heroes in the truest sense. A Killer of Lions by Stan Weisleder.
Let me take just a moment or two, if I may, and talk about a great place to eat. That's right, for you folks anywhere in the eastern San Fernando Valley, drop into Bob's Big Boys. That's right, in Sun Valley at 8274 Sunland Boulevard. Now, everybody remembers the name Bob's. They're getting bigger and bigger every day, and little old Bob carrying the hamburger in his checkered overalls is the same Bob that you remember from back through the years. And, of course, if you want to go in for a great lunch, remember their classic burger, the original double-deck hamburger combination. Delicious 100% pure ground beef in 2 patties with American cheese, lettuce, and our famous Big Boy special sauce. The name is Bob, and I think when you go in, you'll say, by golly, I'm sure glad that I found this restaurant because it's good for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. They've got all kinds of things, and all you have to do is remember. Bob's Big Boy in Sun Valley at 8274 Sunland Boulevard. It's a great place to eat.
There are 3 letters in the alphabet that strike terror in most of us. These are the 3 letters you need to avoid at all costs. IRS. If the IRS is coming after you for $15,000 or more in back taxes, you don't want to fight them alone. You need the help of the tax resolution experts at U.S. Tax Relief. They've helped thousands of people like you eliminate up to 85% of their delinquent taxes. If you qualify, U.S. Tax Relief can settle your tax debts for less than you owe, remove penalties and interest, and protect you from bank levies and garnishments. If you owe the IRS at least $15,000 in back taxes, call U.S. Tax Relief now for a free consultation and see how much money they can save you. Call 800-649-0142. 800-649-0142. 800-649-0142. That's 800-649-0142.
Every day is Save the Earth Day, and each of us has a part to play. For more information and how you can do your part to save the Earth, contact us at SaveTheWorld.net. That's SaveTheWorld.net.
Okay, we are back in the studio. Stan Weisleder and Malcolm Burman, and our guests right this minute, Jerry and Jeff Cutler, and they're going to wrap up their review of the James Brown biopic. Jerry and Jeff, take it away.
Okay. To wrap it up, Bozeman is great, incidentally.
Yeah, I agree with you.
His dancing is outstanding. In the split, someone asked him, you can continue splits. He said, the last split in the film that you see is the last split I will ever do. and his lip syncing, I thought he was singing.
It's an incredible job on the lip sync.
His dancing was phenomenal, but in imitating James Brown. But
Right.
I don't think he could get the vocals about the same.
Yeah. Oh, here is one problem I have, though, and I think everyone has this.
Don't get personal. No.
in the dialogue, taking on James Brown cadence, his style of talking, I missed quite a bit of what he was saying. It was so muttered.
Yeah, how about you, Malcolm?
I
Malcolm.
enjoyed it. I thought the acting was fantastic.
No, we're talking about the dialogue here. Did you understand? Jeff and I both.
In the way he got the cadence.
Some of it I missed, but then again I've missed Marlon Brando when he had that style. But I think once you got used to it, you could pick it up.
Well, then you have to see him a few times.
Okay, then later on you're going to have to explain what was the last thing he said to his friend before the end of the movie. I would imagine that was very important, and I didn't get it.
My memory ain't that good.
Oh, okay.
But the thing is, I didn't object to the cutting. I thought that was very well done. The way it was going back and forth.
Well, you thought I thought it was well done, but very confusing.
I didn't find it confusing.
I didn't either.
What I found. For some reason, I
did, and so did Kenneth Turan, so I don't have to say anymore.
Yeah, but I just read Kenneth Turan's review of Boyhood.
Yes, and I applaud him for that.
But anyway, for some reason, did not get emotionally involved with James Brown. There was something missing. I don't know what. I wasn't sure, even with everything, and they explained.
Well, that's the fault of the movie, my darling.
Yeah. Well, and I think you're right, Malcolm. I think that is. I mean, you're imbued with the performance and the music. But yeah, But was he standoffish as a human being?
I don't know, and I don't know why. I mean,
right.
Again, I was intellectually involved, but not emotionally involved.
Right.
Listen, guys, there's something you have to remember. Whenever there's a movie that deals with a complicated subject, the movie, sometimes you have to see it twice or three times to get all of the fine points. I've seen so many movies, and after the second time, I would say to myself, wow, I never noticed that particular scene before. I don't remember that particular bit of dialogue, and I would get a different take on it.
And this movie, you really don't want to see it.
but I agree with you. There could have been a better cutting of it, or some scenes cut out.
Less confusing, and the characterizations weren't very good. You didn't spend enough on some characters. And you really never got to understand them. The two female leads were so brilliant. I wanted to see more of them.
Well, guys, how many bagels would you give this?
Well, for all the effort put in, and especially for the performances, I'd give it 2. I don't know about Jeff.
I would go to 3 crumpets.
3 crumpets?
Yes, my English bride.
2 bagels or 3 crumpets?
Yeah.
2 bagels and 3 crumpets.
Yeah, I agree. I would do more out of 3 out of 4.
Yeah,
it was enjoyable.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say more than that.
Enjoyable was meeting Malcolm's wife. She is lovely.
She's beautiful.
What a lovely woman! I said, how did she marry him?
Yeah, I wonder the same thing all the time.
Yeah. And she looks great in shorts.
She has to listen to the show. I think she's working now, so I'll have to get a copy of this. Well, anyway, guys, do you know what you're seeing next week?
Yeah, what are we seeing?
I love you.
I love you, too.
Thank you. I don't know.
Did you see the new Woody Allen movie?
Jerry did.
Yes, I did.
Oh, it's the one I love.
The one I love belongs to somebody else. No.
Yeah, right.
Magic in the Moonlight? Is that the one?
Magic in the Moonlight. Didn't I review that?
No, not here.
Not on this show.
Next week I'll tell you all about it. I liked it a lot.
Okay, Jerry, send your review in so we can have it printed.
Okay.
Anyway, thanks a lot, and we'll see you next week. We have to coming up to a break, and who are we going to have back after the break?
We're going to have Larry Manetti.
And to all you guys, you know, because he does a show on the station. See you in about 3-4 minutes. Bye.
Someday there'll be a cure. Someday we won't lose the people we love. But when is someday? Someday is today. Thanks to the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, hundreds of thousands diagnosed with blood cancer are today living a normal life. We're making cures happen. Join us. Call 888-HELP-LLS. Go to LLS.org. Help us reach today sooner.
This is a referral service. Calls will be routed to an independent referral insurance agency.
Listen up, America!
Listen up, America. I'm talking to anyone with or without a pre-existing medical condition. A health insurance hotline has now been established to provide health insurance for all Americans, even uninsured Americans with pre-existing conditions. Call now for a free, no-obligation quote on affordable health plans available to you. 1-800-402-7599. I repeat, this is a hotline providing free quotes for affordable health plans. It's for anyone without health insurance, even if you have pre-existing conditions. Medical costs are the #1 cause of bankruptcy and financial distress. All uninsured Americans are strongly urged to call this National Health Insurance Hotline right away to protect yourself and your family from an unexpected variety of medical costs that could cause financial hardship. Call the Health Insurance Hotline right now for a free quote at 1-800-402-7599. That's 1-800-402-7599. Call 1-800-402-7599.
Time's running out. You're maxed out on your credit cards. The collection calls are coming every day, and now you're 2 payments behind on your mortgage. Every time you turn on the radio, there's some cheerful couple telling you how they got out of debt overnight. Their stress is gone, and everything's just wonderful. Come on. The truth is, what sounds too good to be true is too good to be true. Banks don't build skyscrapers so you can walk in and settle your credit card debt for pennies on the dollar. You need real help, and you need it now. Not bankruptcy. That should be your last choice. We're Credit Card Relief, and we've been helping people just like you for nearly a decade. We're the only attorney-driven program dedicated to helping you get out of debt in months instead of years, saving you thousands, and without risking your family home. We know what we're doing, and we don't make promises we can't keep. The consultation is free, and the relief is real.
800-981-7595. 800-981-7595. 800-981-7595.
Lumber Liquidators just acquired truckloads of top-quality flooring from brands like Armstrong at unbelievably low prices. And now you get the deals at the incredible flooring buyout sale on now through July 29th. Get clearance flooring for just 29 cents a square foot. Solid 3/4 pre-finished gunstock oak is $189 with quick click for $159. So go to lumberliquidators.com today to find the store nearest you. Special 18-month financing is available, but hurry, this sale ends Tuesday.
Nothing says I love you, I'm thinking about you, or I miss you, like a beautiful bouquet of fresh flowers from proflowers.com. Flowers are a festive way to dress up a birthday, holiday, or anniversary. Plus, prices start at $19.99 and include a free vase. Every bouquet is guaranteed to last at least 7 days. To send a thoughtful bouquet, go to proflowers.com/radio. And to receive this special offer, enter code DAISY. That's proflowers.com/radio, code DAISY.
You're on, Stanley.
Yes, I'm on. Sometimes I'm off. Now I'm on. This is Stan Weisleder on The View from Over Here, which is broadcast on crntalk.com. And I'm right here in the studio with Malcolm Burman, and our special guest today is somebody who really does not need an introduction.
But introduce him, please.
Yes, his name is Larry Manetti. He has a gazillion credits on TV and movies. He wrote a book. He has his own show. In fact, we're neighbors. Not neighbors down the street, but neighbors on the same station. Larry, are you with us?
I'm with you, Stan. Hi, Malcolm. How are you guys?
I'm fine. How does it feel to be a guest and not a host?
Oh, it's wonderful.
Wait a minute. Since you're doing this on the phone with us, which is great. Many of our guests elect to do it on the phone. So are you sitting around in your underwear?
No, actually, I'm sitting by my pool, puffing out a cigar, and having a cup of coffee, and can't wait to get into this with you, too.
Hey, it's a tough life, isn't it?
Well, listen, it's better than being in the steel mills.
That's a fact.
When you talked about being by the pool, I had a vision of you, a Magnum PI, by the pool in your Hawaiian shirt, having a cocktail.
Yeah, well, I mean, at night I might, but it's too damn hot now.
Yeah. Listen, Larry, you wrote a book called Aloha Magnum.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any secret stuff in there?
Of love.
Any tell-alls? Any dirt in there that our listeners would like to hear?
I got into a little bit of trouble with my wife, but it was a book that people kept asking me to do, and Barry Levinson, he's an infamous director, had a friend, and he came to me, and he had written several books, and he said, "Listen, I really want to do this book with you." And I said, "Nah, it's too hard. you know, it's like what a web you weave when you first deceive. And I says, and I don't lie, and I want to tell the truth if I ever write a book. And the long and the short of it is, and I did tell the truth, everything in that book is factual.
So do you mean that Tom Selleck will never speak to you again?
Well, Selleck and I had a big fight. And,
well,
you know...
Well, verbal or physical?
Well, big, not physical, he's too big. You know, in the movies I've hit him, but in real life he's a pretty tough guy. But the thing is that I wasn't coherent enough. I mean, you know, when it came down to it, I was very busy. And they had put an episode in there that we can't talk about Selleck and a girl.
Uh-oh.
And I had no idea it was in there. And he went ballistic. So before the book was published, I had to call the publishing company, and they had to take it out and redo the book, which cost $100 and some odd thousand. But then, you know, we patched everything up. But there's tons of stuff in there. There's, you know, Elvis Presley was a friend of mine, and there's one story where I was there. I was doing a series called Baba Black Sheep with Robert Conrad.
Who now is also on the station.
Neighbor.
Yeah, another neighbor. And we went there. We had a few cocktails. We were feeling pretty good. And Elvis said, you know, folks, I want to introduce one of the greatest performers out there and greatest actors. And Conrad punches me and says, get up. So I stood up. And then after that, he says, come on, kid, we're going backstage. So I was doing a movie in the Philippines, and I have to level. I was so nervous meeting Elvis. The booze went right from my toes to my head. And prior to that engagement, Al Sachs, who was the runner of the Stardust Hotel, which is an infamous mob place, had given me a Pulsar wristwatch that you push a button and little red numerals come out. So it was a very, very rare watch and an expensive watch. And when Elvis meets me, he spots this watch, and he went nuts. And he said, I got to have it. I says, I can't give it to you. And finally, after about 6 times, Conrad says, Manetti, give it to him already. So I says, well, I can't. I'll get killed. So Elvis was taking his rings off and his bracelets, and I says, no, I can't. No. And he got so mad that he stormed off, went into his dressing room. There's just a lot of... Are you guys there?
Yeah, we're here.
Yeah, we're enthralled with your story. That's where we're
there's a lot of stuff in there. Michelle Pfeiffer, when she first started out, was a pal of mine. And
where can we get this book?
Yeah, that was my next question.
You get the book at LarryManetti.com.
LarryManetti.com, okay.
So you're also in the book publishing business, okay.
Yeah, I only did that one. But ironically that you brought that up, I'm like 3/4 of a way through my next book.
And what is that about?
That's about me starting out and going to Hollywood and the ins and outs.
So it's a prequel to Aloha.
Yeah, and how Robert Conrad became my friend and helped me out, which nobody today does. You know, a lot of people talk about it, but Robert Conrad is an exceptional guy, and he literally made me a film actor and put me out there. So you don't see that anymore today.
So I take it that you guys are still friends, especially...
Oh, very much so, yeah.
Does he come into the studios, or does he do it over the phone? Or
he's in the studio every Thursday at 2:30 at CRN Studios, and I don't think he's missed more than twice. And he's been on the air 6 years. And
did you guys ever do the show together, or be?
Yeah, we have. Actually, I'm going to be there this Thursday. I have no idea what is going to happen because Conrad doesn't tell you anything. He might say sit down, but you know, if he does, it's fine. I look forward to it.
Are you still friends with Tom Selleck, or?
Oh yeah, no.
York now, right?
I speak to Selleck. Well, you know, he's doing Blue Bloods, and he's in New York.
So is that filmed in New York?
Yeah, totally in New York. And he works 2 or 3 days at a crack, and then he flies back to L.A., so he's got a grisly schedule.
Yeah, because I know he's a Valley boy. I think his parents were in real estate.
Yeah, he is. And Roger E. Mosley, the helicopter pilot, we talk to each other about once a week, and we go on tours together, Germany and England and throughout the United States, and do questions and answers. There's still a tremendous fan base for Magnum. We're in 47 countries.
Wow.
That show's still out there kicking.
Yeah. Do you ever look at the shows yourself? And
you know, I did a few years ago, but you know, I'm so young in it. I get it. It makes me sick.
Right. You'll always be that age to me.
Hey, Larry,
I used to follow the show.
Larry, I have a question for you. I looked over your filmography on the IMDb, and it is truly impressive. Really, very impressive. So my question is, of all the things that you've done, what do you think is your favorite?
Oh, boy. You know, it's a real tough question.
I know it means you'll
a lot of
insult
TV
someone.
And
all right, don't answer it, because if you name it, it's okay. I understand.
Okay, is there a part that you regret not taking, that you were offered? You always hear these stories about passing up the part that, you know, became the huge success.
Well, there's a part I'm glad I didn't take.
What is that?
And that's when I was under contract to Universal Studios. They had given me Simon and Simon. And I was set to do Simon and Simon, and I got a phone call from Don Delaserio, and he said, you know, I just wrote this pilot for a TV series for CBS. And I said, yeah. I said, I can't do it. He said, well, you better listen to me, because it's going to be a hit, and it's going to be on forever. I said, Don, I'm stuck. I said, you know, and you guys always tell me that. So he said, I'm sending it the script, Manetti. He said, just promise me you'll read it. You owe it to me. So I said, okay. And that night I sat down, and I expected not to like it. And I read it, and I looked at my to-be wife, and I said, I'm in a bad spot right now. And Lou Wasserman, who was the head of Universal Studios, was the old-time mogul. You know, I mean, he would throw a shoe at me, kick me in the butt one time because I was burning gas in his car at a stoplight. So I said, I don't know how I'm going to do this, but I got to go in and plead my case. So I went in, and I said, Mr. Wasserman, I want to do this show with Tom Selleck. He said, what do you mean you want to do it? I says, I want to jump ship from Simon and Simon and go with Magnum. He said, that guy is going to need all the help he can get. He said, it's all right with me. He said, but you're going to be screwed because this is going to be a hit show and Magnum's going to flop. So Selleck had done 12 pilots for Wasserman, and none of them went. So he was speaking from the past. Anyway, when we went to Hawaii, one of the actors that was on looked at me and he says, Manetti, you're going to be here a long, long time.
Yeah. So did you stay, did you stay all that time in Hawaii, or did you come back to the mainland, or did?
No, we stayed there all the time.
Wow.
The only time that we ever left was to do a 2-hour special in England.
So I bet you have some good stories about being down there that you
cannot
tell.
Well, I mean, Selleck's such a fanatic. You know, he said, well, we don't want to stay in a hotel. I said, Tom, I said, I'm not staying in a house. I said, because I don't feel like working 12, 13 hours a day and then have to make breakfast for myself. And he said, no, I got a better idea. And he put us in Leeds Castle, which was where Henry VIII lived.
And
made arrangements that we could all take rooms there. That was the cast. And they had servants and all. But it was a creepy place. And you'd have to get dressed up to eat dinner at night, you know, and dressed to have lunch if you were there.
It sounds perfect for the, what was his name, Hillerman?
Yeah, Hillerman was in his glory.
Right, because that's a character he
Yeah,
played.
and then they rigged my room one night with spider webs and strings that you could slide spiders down. You know, the prop department did it, and they broke bottles in the middle of the night. So I freaked out. I thought I thought Gleed's Castle was haunted on top of it. And on the bottom of the moat, which went around it, they had these swans, and they wanted to do nothing but bite my butt. So I tried to crawl out of a window and bit my shoe. It just, this book's packed loaded.
Are they ever talking about doing a reunion of Magnum?
They've talked many times about it, and I told Selleck the simple solution is this, because he wanted to do the movie, and Universal Studio owns the movie, and that's NBC. He is with Paramount, and that's CBS. So never the twain shall ever meet. And I said, here's what you do. On your hiatus, nobody owns you. Go to Universal and tell them you'll knock out 2 2-hour magnums. I said, the popularity of the show will speak for itself, and you don't have to worry about doing a movie. I said, they'll release these movies all over the world. So he said, gee, that's a great idea. So, we'll see what happens.
Larry, question for you, Larry. When you were in the UK, after dinner, do you guys normally, do a toast to the Queen?
Well, we did. I mean, we were very respectful with all of that stuff. And we were doing a scene, and one guy was drunk or something, but got in a scuffle with Selleck, and Selleck threw him in the bushes. And a bobby came, and, I'm from the streets of Chicago, so, I mean, to me, a cop is a cop. And I gave him a shove and threw him in the bushes, and everything went berserk.
It went down from there.
And it was not funny, because the British don't mess around. But it was cleared up. But, we really loved England. It's a wonderful country. And we had a good time. And from there we went to Italy and France. When we were in France, we were in a helicopter, and the fans literally grabbed the rails and pulled the helicopter back down to the ground.
That was like in Vietnam in 1975.
Yeah.
Going on into the future, do you have any projects planned, or do you have a wish list or a bucket list, as they say?
Well, I'm currently on Hawaii 5-0, and I wouldn't move there. So what I do is do 5 or 6 a year, and on September 17th I go there to do the premiere episode. And it's Carol Burnett and Frankie Valli from the Four Seasons are guest starring. And I've got a miniseries written by Stephen Cronish, who is from 24 fame, and it's about Marilyn Monroe. So I'm going to do a few days in Toronto on that. And they called yesterday about me doing a day in Montana and some cockamamie movie. I don't even know the name of it.
So busier than ever.
When do you have time to write your book?
Well, I find time. It's not something that I try and do in an hour. It's, I have to be in the mood, and I'll sit down for a couple of hours. But it's been worked on now for almost 2 years.
Well, you need a ghostwriter, or you have to take it with you when you go to the bathroom and shut the door and don't let anyone...
Well, you know what? I do skeleton, and I have... there's a fella that wrote a book that was a tremendous hit called Crossroads, which was about the Chicago mob.
Anyway, Larry, hold on to that. We're going to have you back after this break. But as you know, we're up against our commercial.
Yeah,
you're listening to The View from Over Here, heard on CRNTalk.com, and we'll be right back with Larry Manetti.
Yeah,
so
Larry knows the drill.
The next time you're in Southern California, visit the Riviera Restaurant in Calabasas. Riviera, as the name implies, is the ultimate in Calabasas restaurants. There's not even a close second. And what's better suited for the Beverly Hills of the Valley than a Beverly Hills type of restaurant and watering hole without those ridiculous Beverly Hills prices? They're so good. With impeccable service, they probably don't even need this commercial. Even now, it's hard to get a good table except for off hours. But if you really want to treat yourself or your date, call 818-224-2163. That's 818-224-2163. That's the Riviera Restaurant in Calabasas, California.
As a small business owner, there's one word that you absolutely dread: payroll. For small businesses, it's a big burden. You may think you're saving time and money doing it yourself. But come on, are you? Timesheets, processing checks, calculating taxes, a total waste of your time. Paychex simplifies payroll processing, saving you time and money. Submit your payroll online, fax it in, or call your dedicated Paychex payroll specialist. And you're done. Learn more at trypaychex.com. Come on, do the math. The IRS dishes out 8 million penalties a year. Make one mistake and you're on the hook. On average, you're losing nearly one business day every month doing payroll. That's time and money you'll never get back, unless you get Paychex. More than 500,000 small businesses already do. Call 888-578-5378. Trade payroll pressure for peace of mind. Call now. 888-578-5378. That's 888-578-5378.
Homeowners, now is the season to be thinking about your roof, because all it takes is one storm to turn a small roof problem into a major leak. If it's time for a new roof, call Sears at 888-465-9720. You can save $500 if you call right now. Sears licensed, fully insured contractors can get your roofing job done right. Just call 888-465-9720. Sears has a variety of shingles and styles that are built for long-lasting performance, and you'll save $500 if you call now. So call Sears for a free home consultation at 888-465-9720. Hurry, offer ends soon. Not available in all areas. Installation provided by Sears authorized licensed contractors. License information available upon request. That's Sears Roofing. Call right now and save $500. Call 888-465-9720. 888-465-9720. Call Sears now and get that roof repaired. Call 888-465-9720.
The Trees, an epic novel by Stan Weisleder, told in the Godfather fashion, with 2/3 of the book taking place in Las Vegas and describing the transition from the mob to Howard Hughes to corporate America. This book is Las Vegas. Jim Santangelo from the International Brotherhood of Teamsters said, "I didn't grow up in New York or Las Vegas. I grew up in Jersey City, but I know everyone in this book. I loved it." Hal Rothbart, publisher, says, "I wish I had written it." The Trees by Stan Weisleder.
Okay, we're back. I think we're back. Paul, was that the go-ahead?
Well, we're back.
We're back. Okay, I'm in the studio. This is Stan Weisleder with Malcolm Burman on The View from Over Here on CRNTalk.com. Our special guest today is Larry Manetti.
Hi, guys.
Yeah, Larry, your show's going to be at 4 p.m. today?
Yeah, actually, I'm going to do 2 shows today. One at 3 with Joe Mantegna, and then one at 4 with Chef Rick.
Chef Rick, yeah. With Joe Mantegna, I know. I am not personally.
Yeah, wonderful guy.
Great actor. I don't know as a person.
Yeah, he's a Chicagoan. I knew him.
Huh?
You know, there was a whole bunch of us that grew up together in Chi-Town. Dennis Farina, Bill Peterson, Joe Mantegna, and the beat goes on and on. But it was a whole clique, and we get together pretty often.
How well did you know Dennis Farina?
Like a brother. I'm still in horror that he is gone.
Yeah, wasn't he a cop before he became an actor?
Yeah, he was a special undercover cop that went after pedophiles and gangsters, all the people that really hurt the public. And they did a television series about it, and it slips my mind, but you guys can look it up.
Well, he fit perfect then into the role of when he was in Law and
Yeah, he
Order.
was a wonderful actor. Never took an acting lesson. Did some plays. Actually, did Beach Bums with Joe Mantegna, and I was at a singing lesson, and the phone rang in my car right after I got into the car after the lesson, and an actor by the name of Leo Rossi was screaming, "Larry, Dennis is dead! Dennis is dead!"
Ooh.
And I almost hit a truck. It was just horrible.
Well,
Sinatra loved him.
Yeah, he was one hell of an actor.
Oh, yeah.
Well, he was so natural.
Yeah. I mean, he was, and in real life, he was all those guys on the screen.
Question, I've been living in L.A. for, 30 years, but I grew up in New York, and I still consider myself a New Yorker.
Yeah, me too, as Chicago.
So you consider, from what I...
this is a lease.
Right, that's what I got in your voice. You're really from Chicago. If someone asks you, you're from Chicago.
He still has an accent.
Yeah. But it's something Farina said, Larry, never get rid of it, unless you're doing a Western.
Hey, I have to tell you a quick story about accents. I'm from New York. Well, isn't everyone? Well, Malcolm is. When I first started coming out here at the car rental place, the girl said to me, "Are you from New York?" And I said, "Wow, does my accent give me away?" And she said, "No, it's your attitude."
Well, listen, I love New York, and I love the people in it, and it's a great attitude, totally different than Chi-Town.
Or L.A.
Listen, I used to hang out with Anthony Quinn in New York, and I said, Tony, I was walking down the street yesterday morning, and a guy in a sheet with a crucifix ran up to me. He said, "What did you do?" I said, "I bolted in the street and jumped on top of a police car."
Anyway, Larry, sorry to interrupt you. We only have 30 seconds left.
Oh, okay, guys.
Thank you very
Larry.
much for joining us.
Larry, you're great. We want you to come back when you have the time.
Anytime you want. Just give us a ring.
You got it. Okay, you're listening to The View from Over Here, heard on crntalk.com, and you can get us on www.theviewfromoverhere, or View from Over Here. Know that. Speak to you next week. Bye.
The View from Over Here is a co-production of Infinity X and TBG International. For further information, contact Malcolm Burman at 818-687-2784. That's 818-687-2784.